parak is called Klal Gadol. It's a very significant parak because it contains the malachas in it. So far, we nearly have the 39 malachas. In this parak, we learn the 39 malachas. You'll see why right away, why it's important to know all 39. Okay, so it starts off, Klal Gadol Amr b'Shabbos. There's a great rule regarding Shabbos. The Gemara is going to explain, when you say a great rule, what are you referring to? Like, what's the greatness? Greatness because of what? What? So, is it comparative within Shabbos itself? Or is it just because Shabbos is so strict, so everything is considered great? We'll see in the Gemara because we'll compare it to other examples. So we're going to have 4 cases here. No, 4 clauses, and we're going to have 3 cases. It says Kol shecheach ikar Shabbos b'asam malachas harbe b'Shabbos harbe ein chayav al achatas achas. Someone doesn't know the concept of Shabbos at all. As we'll see, there's a possibility, let's say, he converted, and somehow the rabbi didn't tell him that there's a concept of Shabbos. He told him everything else. Somehow they forgot that it was absent one day. That's a major one. Or let's say he was a child that was captured or something. That could be an option. He doesn't know the concept of Shabbos. However, when he finds out, so even though he did malacha, many different types of malacha, on many different Shabbosim, but he really only forgot one item, Shabbos. It's not forgot, he never knew. It's one item, Shabbos. So therefore, he only has to bring one chatas for all of that. There's only one forgetting. That's what it's called, one shgaga. That's the way we'll divide up amounts of violations, is by how many forgettings there were. The rule of Shabbos is that if someone violates Shabbos b'mezid with witnesses, on purpose with witnesses, then it's a death penalty. Otherwise, it's kares if there's no witnesses, and if it's in forgetting way and by mistake, then it's a chatas. Here we're dealing with the chatas where he's forgetting. Hayideya ikar Shabbos. Someone that knows the concept of Shabbos. What doesn't he know? He doesn't know that today is Shabbos. He's lost his calculations. I'm not sure what he's thinking, but he doesn't know that today's Shabbos. He does a lot of different malachas on a lot of different weeks. So he's chayav al kol Shabbos for Shabbos. He's chayav for each Shabbos. He knows that there's a concept of Shabbos. He doesn't know that today's Shabbos. Now, Rashi explains this, that even though he doesn't know today's Shabbos and last week's Shabbos, he didn't know that it was Shabbos, that doesn't combine it together as one forgetting, because sometime during the week, he probably recognized that it's a weekday, and that should have made it that there was a Shabbos somewhere here. And that's considered an awareness in the middle. That awareness should divide up the violations. Now, Tosfos doesn't accept that. He says it has to do with Gzeres HaKasav. It's not the awareness that's actually doing it in the middle. This is a Gzeres HaKasav. We'll see later. The Gemara's could be a strong support, Tosfos. Now, so far that's 2 cases. He doesn't know anything about Shabbos. He knows the concept of Shabbos. He doesn't know the day of the week it is. And the third possibility is Hayideshu Shabbos. He knows the concept of Shabbos, and he knows that it is Shabbos. And he does a lot of work on many different Shabbosim. What doesn't he know? He doesn't know which work is Aser. Here he doesn't know the malachas. So he knows Shabbos, he knows that it is Shabbos, He just thinks that this is something we're allowed to do on Shabbos. So the days in between Shabbos, those weekdays, have no awareness of malachas in them. It's just because in the last case, or the way Rashi put it was, he knows sometime during the week that it's not Shabbos. That's considered an awareness. He just divided up to two Shabbosim. Over here, he knows during the week that it's not Shabbos, but it doesn't, unless he goes to a shir in Hilchas Shabbos, he has no awareness of exactly of what he didn't know on Shabbos before and the Shabbos after. He has no knowledge of that. So there's no awareness here. So therefore, he's going to be chayiv. I'll call av malacha malacha. He's chayiv on every av malacha. 1. So there's 39 malachas. It's going to be chayiv for each one of them. That's why later on we're going to explain what are the av malachas. We're going to have to go through that just for this. Then the Mishnah concludes and it says, "Ha'isa malachas harbe men malacha achas in chayav alachatas achas." There's this concept of subcategories in Hilchos Shabbos, which are they're called toldas. Toldas are offspring. It means you have the big categories; those are called avos, the fathers, and the toldas are the children. So, if someone does all 39 malachas, including avos and toldas and everything, what's going to happen is that he'll only be chayiv for the av malachas, and the toldas will be included in the atonement for the av malacha. He'll get that atonement together with that, because he doesn't have to bring a separate sacrifice for those toldas. For those each category, each of the 39 categories will get one chatas. That's one shagig. He didn't know that was prohibited, and when he finds out that it was prohibited, so he'll just bring a total of 39. It can't be more than 39, because if he does one malacha twice in the same forgetting, so it's still only one. And if he adds toldas in, there could be many toldas, it's still only one, because it's all one category. That's over here when it says me'en malacha achas, it's similar to one malacha, that's referring to toldas. Okay. Now the Gemara asks, my time tani klal gadol. Why did you say that this is a klal gadol? You could say it's a klal. This is a rule, the way Shabbos works, the way we divide up violations. That has to do with awareness. Each awareness divides it into a different act. But why is it called klal gadol? If you say that it has to do, it's relative to another rule that's coming up. Over here you said klal gadol is a great rule. Why is this one a great one? Because later on there's going to be another one. And that's going to be a secondary sort of rule. Later on there's another. The Gemara over here doesn't bother defining, explaining what the rule later on is. It's just, we're just looking for the translation of klal gadol. What is, when you say gadol, it's in reference to what? So maybe because there's a one later. Anyway, with the later one, it talks about what's considered a significant item for carrying. It says kol hakasha latzniya, anything that you would, that was large enough that you would already store away, that was significant to you. We're talking about sizes for different malachas. How much is considered a malacha? Anything that was significant. And that's the rule later. So therefore, tani klal gadol, we have a rule later. So that's why this rule we said is a klal gadol. The gabi shviyas nami. We have another mishnah in Masechta Shviyas. Also, it says a klal gadol. And over there, the mishnah is talking about what the laws of Shemitah apply to. It's Perek Zayin in Shviyas. And over there it says anything that's Meichel Adam, anything that's food, Meichel Behema. even animal food or even things that are used for dyes, and it won't last in the ground, has the laws of Shvius. Its money is also considered Shemitah. It takes on the holiness of Shemitah, and it has to be taken out of the house when there's nothing left in the field. So that's the big rule for Shemitah. What goes under the category of Shemitah or Shvius, the seventh year, right? So, and over there also, there's because over there's two Mishnayos in Shvius. Where's the second rule? No, Tanaklal Gadol. Yeah. Over there's another rule that says anything that's not food. So it still has, it's not food, but it will still have Shemitah. It just doesn't have beer. You don't have to take it out. So because over there's two Mishnayos, so that's why it has one of them, which is the Klal Gadol, the main one, and then you have the secondary one. And the Gemara says, one second. By Meiser, this is Meiser that you have to take a tithe of the grain. So what has the rules of Meiser? So it has a list over there of what Meiser is. Biblically, Meiser is grain, oil, and wine. However, the sages added other things to it. The problem is over there you have two lists. Klal Amr b'Meiser. It doesn't say Klal Gadol, even though you have another list where it says another Klal. So if it's this term Klal Gadol is used in reference to two times, it's going to say a Klal. So why doesn't it say Klal Gadol by Meiser? So Amr Rabbi Baravin. Rabbi Baravin says it's really a different reason here. Shabbos is Shvius disbu avos v'toldos tana gadol. Ma'aseh les bu avos v'toldos leitani klal gadol. Doesn't have to do with the klal that you have. You have one rule, you have another rule. It has to do with the category. This is a type of halacha that has avos and toldos. We say this is an important rule. If it doesn't have avos and toldos, then we're not going to say klal gadol. So Shemitah also has avos and toldos because there's certain types of work and Shemitah that you're not allowed to do. Main categories and then toldos categories. So that's why it's going to say klal gadol. And as we're looking for a division here between Shabbos, Shemitah, and Meiser. And we found it. Shabbos and Shemitah have avos and toldos. Meiser doesn't. The Gemara asks 1 second. There's variant readings in the Mishnayos by Meiser. And Bar Kapara, the Tani Klal Gadol b'Meiser, Bar Kapara has a different reading in that Mishnah by Meiser. And over there he says Klal Gadol. So my avos and my toldosika. So how does he explain it? That's now we're looking to get the understanding of that machlekes and how to read the Mishnah in Meiser, in Meisers. The Gemara says, we're going to do a different reason. We're looking for anything that has a set of laws that aren't as strict as it, that also has a klal. So we'll say this is a klal gadol. So for example, Shabbos has a stringency over Shemitah, and we'll explain in a second. That's why by Shabbos it says Klal Gadol. And Shemitah has a stringency over Meiser. That's why by Shemitah it says Klal Gadol. Now, does Meiser have a stringency over anything else? That's going to be a machlekes. So that way we can explain Bar Kapara and the Rabbanan. Okay, so let's go through what is the stringency of Shabbos over Shemitah. God lunches shel Shabbos yesim mishal shvius. The ilu Shabbos, when it comes to Shabbos, isa bein betalish bein b'mechuber. I have malachas that apply to Shabbos, whether the food is attached to the ground or whether the food is detached from the ground. I have malachas that would apply to them. What malachas are attached to the ground? Well, you can't harvest. What malachas are when it's detached? You can't grind and knead, and this vilu shviyas by shmita betalish lesa b'mechuber isa. The laws of shmita are only going to apply if they're attached to the ground when shmita begins, when the seventh year begins. If they've been removed from the ground before the seventh year starts, then it's the laws of shmita don't apply. Okay, so Shabbos has a stringency over shmita that even if you removed it from the ground before Shabbos began, you still have laws of Shabbos that are applicable to it. And by shmita, it doesn't work like that. Okay, now we have to do, so why by shmita, by shviyas, over there does it say klal gadol? It says, v'gadol ein shel shviyas yosmin ha-meiser, because that has a stringency over meiser, over tithing. The shviyas yisa bein b'meichel adam bein b'meichel behema. When it comes to shmita, how do you say shmita? Sabbatical, yeah? Is that what you do? Shmita, is there a word for shmita other than that? Just sabbatical. So when it comes to shmita, where you leave the ground in the seventh year fallow, so that applies. That applies to whether it's food for human consumption or food for animal consumption. When it comes to tithing only applies, it doesn't apply to Michael Behema. It doesn't apply to animal food, fodder. So that explains why Shemitah has a klal gadol, because it has another set of mishnayos in a category beneath it that aren't as strict. So it's called klal gadol. This has a stringency over another category. So it's not within itself the way we were doing that. There's two klalim here. We're saying klal gadol because it has a category under it. You can ask, so why does the second Mishnah not say klal gadol as well? It's interesting. Okay, so Labar Kapara, the Tani klal gadol b'maisa gadol l'enshel maisa yesem mishal peya. So Bar Kapara adds in a category here to be able to say klal gadol by meiser, by tithing. Why? Because meiser is more strict than peya. Peya is when you have to leave the corner of the field for the poor. What do you have to leave? From what items? It says the ilu meiser isa b'teina v'yerek. Meiser, at least rabbinically, applies to figs and vegetables. Biblically, it only applies to the grain, wine, and oil. But for rabbinically, it applies, tithing applies also to figs and vegetables. There's meiser on that. V'ilu peya, when it comes to peya, less b'teina v'yerek, it doesn't apply to figs and vegetables for a specific reason. It says the Tanan klal gadol amr. I'm sorry, I added in gadol. That's a mistake. Klal amr b'peya. There's a rule by peya. Kol shoychel v'nishmar v'gedulim min haaretz. I think this is the first Mishnah, first parak. First Mishnah is Eily Dvarim or something. The what does a peya apply to? Applies to food that's guarded. It means you protect it. Grows from the ground. It gets harvested together. That means you do one harvest for the whole crop. And then you bring it in to store. Chayav v'peya. Those are the things that are chayav and peya. Now, this is excluding other items that aren't like this. I'm sorry, it goes through oichel. When we said at the beginning of this mission that it's food, it only applies to food. That's lemute svichim, satis, and kaitzer. These are svichim are aftergrowths. It means it was planted last crop, and somehow it just grew again. And satis, kaitza, sviche satis for kaitza, the aftergrowth of satis and kaitza are two types of dyes. I get the exact words. Plant called dyer's woad. Yeah, Rabbi Steinsaltz has Isatis tincatoria, whatever. They get a blue dye from it. It's not a food. And what is kaitza? Kaitza, he says, is matter. Okay, so whatever the case is, peya doesn't apply to those crops. How do we know that? Well, it's not considered oichel. The next category, vinishmar. It needs to be something that's guarded or protected. Lemute hefker. You don't have to leave peya from a field that's hefker. Everyone's going in and taking. You don't say that you have to leave. You can't take from the side. It's only something that's owned. Vigidula minar. It has to grow from the ground. Lemute kmei and pitrios. This is excluding mushrooms and truffles that don't grow from the ground. They grow from the moisture in the air. They sit on the ground. Likitasika achas, and they have to be harvested in one harvest. That means one harvest season that you do the harvest together. Lemu'ute teina, this is excluding figs. Apparently figs, they each ripen on their own, and you can't harvest them all together. You can't go to a fig tree and take in the crop. You go to the fig tree and you look and you say, oh, I see one is ripe. Okay, good. I got it for today. So that doesn't apply to peya. Doesn't apply to fig trees, simply because of that, because it's not harvested in one crop. And the next category is machnisi lakiyim. You bring it into store. L'ma'ute yerek is excluding vegetables. You can't store the vegetables unless you dehydrate them, I guess. But grain you bring in and you store. You put them in the silo and they stay. It stays there. Stay there for years. But vegetables, you take them off and you have a week if you're lucky, and that's the end of it. You can't bring in the crops to store for the winter. You pickle them, I guess, but it's not like grain. So peya doesn't apply to this. Vilagabe meiser tanan. And regarding meiser, it says klalam or meiser kol shuaychol v'nishma v'gdulim minaretz. Anything that grows from the ground, that's guarded. That means that it's owned, right? And it's food. It's chayiv meiser. V'lakitasa kachas amachnisa lakiyam lai. Laitanan. It doesn't say that it needs to be harvested as one. It needs to be brought in for storage. So meiser, you are chayiv and meiser for figs and vegetables, rabbinically. What we just did was we just explained why Bar Kapara is going to say that meiser has a klal gadol. And the reason is because he has a category beneath it which doesn't have a klal gadol, because it's more lenient. That's peya. And because meiser has an extra stringency, that meiser applies to things that are not harvested as one and also not brought in for storage. So therefore it says klal gadol. The question is why the rabbis don't say that. The rabbis also have peya. That rule, they agree to that. Apparently the answer to that would be that this whole difference between Meiser and Peya is all rabbinic, because Meiser only applies to grain, wine, and oil. Now, in the rabbinic laws, you have that difference of what else does the Meiser apply to? Well, rabbinically, it applies to more things than Peya. So Bar Kapara takes that and says, oh, you see, there's a hierarchy here, and so therefore the higher one is going to get the Klal Gadol. And the rabbis are just looking at it from the biblical perspective, and so therefore they're not going to say, oh, that's a difference. Yeah, that's how Taisus explains. However, the differences between Shabbos and Shemitah and Meiser, those are biblical differences. So therefore, that's why the Klal Gadol applies there. Okay, all of that was just explaining the Gadol. Now, let's go back to the actual Mishnah. You say, Rav and Shmuel, Dami Tarvayo, Masnisin betinik shnishma lebein anachrim, v'gershin eskay lebein anachrim. When we said that someone that doesn't know about Shabbos, kol hasheicheach ikar Shabbos, he doesn't know the basic concept of Shabbos, Rav and Shmuel say that that's referring to someone that was either captured, a child that was captured, and he's taken captive amongst the non-Jews, or he's a convert that converted amongst non-Jews, and he doesn't know the concept of Shabbos. You know, where's the Tosfos? Tosfos on the bottom says, obviously he didn't convert without a Bezdin. It says he has 3 people there, but they didn't tell him the mitzvah of Shabbos. You see the bottom Tosfos? If he just converted on his own, he said, oh yeah, I had a mikveh over there in wherever it's from. So I went to the mikveh and I didn't learn about Shabbos. That wouldn't work. Talking about that he actually had 3 people that would be considered a Bezdin. They just didn't teach him the laws of Shabbos. And so he doesn't know the concept of Shabbos. There's another Gemara, I forget, we had, where he doesn't even know the concept, that he's not allowed to worship idols, which is really shocking. How did he convert? He doesn't even know that. But okay, he doesn't know Shabbos. This is a big deal too. So what happens here? He doesn't know Shabbos, whatever the background to that is, but he doesn't know Shabbos at all. Then he does many malachas. He only has to bring 1 karban afterwards when he finds out about Shabbos. For all the Shabbosim and all the malachas, it's just 1 karban. But let's say he actually knew the concept of Shabbos, but he forgot it. Chayav al kol Shabbos v'Shabbos. Then he goes up 1 level. It's not 1 karban. If he knew the concept of Shabbos but forgot it, then he would have to bring a karban for each Shabbos. According to Rav and Shmuel. Now the Gemara is going to have a problem with this. It says, Tanan, it was taught in the Mishnah, Shechech ikar Shabbos.
Doesn't he have to be warned?
I'm sorry?
Doesn't he have to be warned?
Oh.
So when he forgot, he was warned, and then the next week he forgot again?
Yeah, so the warning would have to do for a mazid.
Oh, so he's bringing like a chatas?
This is a chatas. This is a shagig. Yeah. Also, once he gets warned, then we're dealing with death penalties. That's difficult to do twice. That's a chatas you can bring 2, 3. You bring a herd. So the problem is that the Mishnah says, take a look. Tanan started in the Mishnah, Hashichech ikar Shabbos. Someone that forgets the main concept of Shabbos, the basic idea of Shabbos. Now, forgets means that he knew and forgot. Now, this doesn't fit at all with the understanding of Rav and Shmuel. Rav and Shmuel say that we're dealing with someone that never knew the concept of Shabbos because he was raised, whatever. So the Gemara says, Lav Mechlal, Ikara. Does this not mean that he knew about it once and then he forgot it? The Gemara says, Lie. No, you can't be Medayik. That's what it means. My Kol Shabbos. What does that mean? That he forgot about the basic concept of Shabbos. It was forgotten from him. It was like lost from him, this concept. But it doesn't mean that he knew it and forgot. Somehow you can use the word forgot in a way that means that he never knew it. So it helped. They joked about this guy in medical school. They asked him, what does the appendix do on the test? It says, oh, I knew, I just forgot. So this would help. I just forgot. It was always forgotten. So, okay. But what would be taka if he knew and he forgot? Different than the case of Rav and Shmuel. Then my chayev al kol Shabbos v'Shabbos. Then it would actually be chayev for each Shabbos if he knew about it and forgot. He knew the concept of Shabbos. Gemara says, 1 second. Now you're getting into a problem here because we had 3 cases in the Mishnah. You're now throwing in a middle case. Gemara doesn't like when this happens because when you're trying to make a contrast between here, you're only chayev 1. Here, you're chayev for each Shabbos. Here, you're chayev for each malacha. But in between, you have other cases that will also give you those distinctions. Then why did you take the more extreme case when there were cases that were closer that would have given you that distinction? So, for example, aditani means instead of learning, instead of teaching. Someone that knows the concept of Shabbos. He just forgot that it's Shabbos, and he does many types of work on many different Shabbosim. So he's chayav al kol Shabbos v'Shabbos. He has to bring a carbon for each Shabbos. Listen here, why don't you just say that he knew the concept of Shabbos, but he forgot the concept of Shabbos? Why do you have to say he knows Shabbos and he just forgot that it was Shabbos? Say that he forgot the whole concept of Shabbos. And you already be chayav, because you'd already have the contrast between one carbon to a carbon per Shabbos, just in the same person that doesn't know the concept of Shabbos. One carbon if he never knew, and a carbon per Shabbos for someone that knew and forgot. Why do you have to go a carbon per Shabbos to someone that still knows the concept of Shabbos, but just doesn't know what day of the week it is? Why do you have to go to that case? You already had it before. In the guy that doesn't know even the concept of Shabbos, but he still has to bring a carbon per Shabbos because he knew before and now he forgot about it. The Gemara says, Maya Yedea Shabbos. What does it mean, someone that knows the concept of Shabbos? Misha Haya Yedea Mi'ikara Ikra Shel Shabbos V'Shachacha. No, you read that second case wrong. That second case is exactly the case that you're looking for. Someone that knows the concept of Shabbos and he forgot. Don't say that he forgot that it's Shabbos. He forgot all the concept of Shabbos. And that's the one that has to bring a carbon per Shabbos. So we're rereading now the second case. The first case still is clear, someone that never knew the concept of Shabbos. He only brings one carbon. The second case is what we used to think was someone that knows Shabbos but just doesn't know what day of the week it is. Now we're reading it. He knew the concept of Shabbos, but he forgot the concept of Shabbos. And so he's the one that has to bring a carbon per Shabbos. When it says Aval, we're on top of Samach Beis. Aval loy shachachamai, but if he didn't forget the concept of Shabbos, he only forgot that today is Shabbos. In other words, the case that you used to think this was talking about. Now that with the new reading, what's going to be that halacha? Someone that knows the concept of Shabbos but doesn't know what today is. Until now, we always read that was someone that has to bring a carbon per Shabbos. Now you just said that, no, we just took that case away from. We took away the Mishnah from that case. We said that the Mishnah is talking about someone that knew the concept of Shabbos but forgot it. What about someone that knows the concept of Shabbos, but doesn't know what today is. But if he doesn't forget the concept of Shabbos, he just forgot what day it is, what's going to be the din? Then he's chayiv al kol malacha. Then he's going to be chayiv probably on all 39. He just forgot what day it is. He knows the concept of Shabbos. So adatani hayideshu Shabbos, instead of teaching the third case, the Gemara is asking, which is someone that knows that it's Shabbos, he just doesn't know the malachas. If that person needs to bring 39 karbanos, talking about the person that knows that it's Shabbos, he just doesn't know the laws. And he knows that Shabbos exists. He knows these things that he's not supposed to do. He doesn't know what they are. So he just does all of these malachas. So he has to bring a karban per malacha, even though it's over many Shabbosim. It's just one karban per malacha. So we have a case where this rule would have applied, even without this, and that is, if he knows the concept of Shabbos, but he just forgot that today is Shabbos, he still has to bring a karban per malacha, based on our new reading. So if that's the case, so why did he say the case that's where he doesn't know the malachas, but he knows that it's Shabbos? He could have gotten that rule at an earlier case where he doesn't know that it's Shabbos. The same rule. So the Gemara has to switch. Everything was getting moved over one, and at the end, it all worked out well until at the end where we hit a dead end. So therefore, we can't do it like this. So we have to adjust it. We had Rav and Shmuel telling us what the first case was. It's impossible. It goes like this. Our Mishnah is actually where he knew that it was that he knows the concept of Shabbos, but he forgot about it. The Rabbi Shmuel Nami kihikkel b'seif shachach dami. And Rav and Shmuel's case is the same. Rav and Shmuel that we're talking about, where he never knew, that has the same status as if he knew, but he forgot. So in other words, knowing and forgetting that the basic concept of Shabbos is the same as never knowing the basic concept of Shabbos. It's going to be the same. And this is how it should be read. Rav and Shmuel both say, afilu, that's the key word here. Afilu tinik shenish ben anachrim v'ger sheniskal ben anachrim ki'ekel b'seif shachach dami v'chayev. The Mishnah itself is talking about someone that knew the laws of Shabbos, knew the concept of Shabbos, but he forgot about the basic concept of Shabbos. He only has to bring one malacha when he remembers the concept of Shabbos. One karban for all the malachas when he remembers the concept of Shabbos. Rav and Shmuel come and add that would apply to someone that never knew as well. That would be the same thing. What are they coming to say? Of course it would be. Well, let's see the next opinion of Rabbi. You see, it's not so simple. There's actually a chiddush here, that what they're saying is that even though he never knew, he still brings a karban. It goes like this. For Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, they argue, and they both say, Daf gehikkel b'seif shachach. No, they don't argue on the Mishnah, of course. The Mishnah is when someone knew the concept of Shabbos but forgot about it. And he does a lot of malachas on many different weeks. He only brings one karban. Comes along Rabbi Yochanan Shlakish and say this is only because he knew about it at one point. If he never ever knew, if he was taken captive as a child amongst non-Jews, or he's a convert that converted and no one told him about Shabbos, then he's pater. Rabbi Yochanan Shlakish say this is an einus. This is an einus. This is not a mistake. No one ever told him that there's a concept of Shabbos. So I don't know. This is like, usually they say ignorance of the law, right? Ignorance of the law is no excuse. But he didn't even know that there was a law that he was ignorant about. You have to, according to Rabbi Yochanan Rish Lakish, you have to know that there's a concept. And, well, you should have studied. He didn't even know that there was something to study. He didn't know anything. What? For us, it would be like, what? You don't celebrate Tuesday? No, there's no such thing. So he didn't know anything that there was such a thing as Shabbos. So he's an Einus. He's Potter. When he finds out, he's Potter from bringing any carbon. And now we have Machlekes Rav and Shmuel versus Rabbi Yochanan Rish Lakish. Babylonia versus Israel. In Babylonia, they're more strict about someone that didn't know anything, and in Israel, they say it's can't be held accountable. Okay, Meisvei, the Gemara has a question. Klal Gadol Amar b'Shabbos. We have a great rule in Shabbos. We quote our Mishnah. Kol shechechich Shabbos v'asam malachas harbe Shabbos harbe ein chayav alachas. This is a brisa actually, because we're going to have more details here than in the Mishnah. Someone that forgets the concept of Shabbos and he does many malachas, he's only chayav one karban. He forgot the basic concept of Shabbos. Ketzad, what's the case? Wow, it's clearly not like Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish. The Brisa says the same applies to someone that converted, and that wasn't converted amongst non-Jews. He doesn't know Shabbos, or he was taken captive. He doesn't know Shabbos, and he's chayav al adam achas v'al achelav achas v'al avodah zarah achas. Other laws that have kares, he's also chayav one carbon for one of those laws. If he ate blood, chelev, or worshipped idols, he has to bring a carbon for those as well, but just one carbon. And it says a Munbaz Paiter. Munbaz was a king. He has a he doesn't have a biography here. I thought he would have a biography of Munbaz. But Munbaz says that he's exempt. In that price, he's exempt. Munbaz done lifnei Rabbi Akiva. This is what Munbaz said in front of Rabbi Akiva. Look, someone that does a sin intentionally, he's called a chayte, a sinner. And if he does it by accident, it's also called chayte, sinner. So they both have that title, chayte. Ma mezid shaisla yediyah, just like the mezid had some awareness before. Of course, he has awareness while he's doing the act. But because they're both called the sinner, so we have to learn something from this. And it must be that the one that's doing it by mistake also knew something. He had to have some knowledge originally, and now he just forgot about it. So Amalei Rabbi Akiva responds, I can even add to what you're saying. You're correct. Imam Mezid Shaisei B'Shas Maisa. He's saying it, I think, like more sarcastic. And Munbaz is going to agree to him. He says, if the Mezid, you want to learn that a shagig is like a mezid. By mistake is like on purpose. The mezid knows about it while he's committing the act. So you want to say a shagig also knows about it while he's committing the act? Yeah. The shagig also knows what he's doing. And you added something. So Amrullah, he responds to him, Rabbi Akiva, but according to you, your category of shaygig is really mezid. If he knew about it before, and he knows about it while he's doing the act, so why are you saying he's a shaygig by mistake? It's not by mistake. He knows everything that he's doing. It's all on purpose. Okay, whatever the case is, we had a conversation here between Munbaz and Rabbi Akiva regarding what a shogeg is. Whatever the case is, the beginning of the Brisa told us that if someone didn't know about Shabbos, he's still chayiv. Even if he was captured, even if he converted, he never knew, he's still chayiv. Ketani miyas ketzad tinuk. But nevertheless, it was taught that what's the case of someone that's chayiv one karban, a child that was taken captive. According to Rav and Shmuel, let's say that he's chayiv if he never knew about Shabbos. Very good. It fits with the Brisa. El Rabbi Yochanan ben Lakish Kasha. But according to Rabbi Yochanan ben Lakish, there's a question here because according to them, he's pater. He's considered an accident. Amalach Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish. Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish have an easy response. They say, "Loi, it's not so. Miyika, or loi miyika, munbaz the pater." Is there not munbaz that argue there that says that he's exempt? Munbaz holds that he's exempt. Anad damninan munbaz. We go like munbaz. Yes, this is the kasha from a brisa. There's two opinions in that brisa. We go like the other one, which says that you're exempt if you never knew. My time at the munbaz. What's the reason for munbaz that says that you're exempt? The ksiv teira achas yelachem loisa b'shkaga. The samach leva nefesh asher tasa biadrama. I have two psukim, and it says there's one halacha for someone that does this, that does a sin b'shegig, and the pasuk next to it says, and someone that does the sin intentionally. So hikish shegig l'meisa, there's a hekish, there's a comparison here. Ma meisa shoyse le'yidi, av shegig shoyse le'yidi. Just like if it's done on purpose, there was awareness, at least originally, and happens to be there's awareness also while he's doing it. But so too, when he does it by mistake, there was awareness originally. Not while he was doing it, but originally he knew about it. That's coming to exclude someone that never knew anything. If he never knew anything, then he's totally exempt. So what about the rabbis? What do they do with this? Seems to be a juxtaposition here where you can say that even someone that does it unintentionally, in order for him to be chayiv, he needs to have awareness before. And the rabbis don't say that. The rabbis say it's chayiv even if there was no awareness before. So they say that verse that teaches you that they use it for another reference. Rabbi Shua ben Levi taught his son. He taught his son, Rabbi Shua ben Levi, doesn't say what his son's name is, but he says, that pasuk that says that there's one law that will be for someone that commits this act, b'shogeg. It's referring to Avodah Zarah. Somehow in Parsha Shlach it throws in one law about Avodah Zarah, the karban. Uksiv, and it also says v'chisishku v'leisasu es kol mitzvah. Over there it calls Avodah Zarah all of these mitzvahs, and it's referring to which mitzvah. Rashi says over there which mitzvah is compared to all of the mitzvahs. It says that's Avodah Zarah. So if someone will make a mistake and he'll do all of these prohibitions rather, so which means that he violates Avodah Zarah. Uksiv anefesh shetasa biadrama. And then right next to it, it says, if someone will do this on purpose, so what's happening is, Hukshu kulam la'avodah zarah. All karbanas are compared to the karban of avodah zarah. Ma'ala alon davar shechayavan al sedein kars v'shigagasi chatas, av kol davar shechayavan al sedein kars v'shigagasi chatas. Which prohibitions in the Torah incur a penalty of bringing a chatas sacrifice? We learn that from Avodah Zarah. That just like Avodah Zarah, if it's done intentionally, it's kares, that's without witnesses. But it's kares means excision. If it's done unintentionally, so then it's a chatas. And that's what we learned from there. So the rabbis use this verse, Torah achas, to teach me laws of shaygig. So the Gemara asks, Vela Munbaz. Munbaz taught it to me, use that pasuk to tell me that I need to have awareness originally of the laws in order to be chayev. Vela Munbaz shkaga b'mai. What is the shaygig? We have a question now. One second, this is a new question. Rabbi Akiva responded back to Munbaz. He said, if you have awareness during the act, so why are you calling it a mistake? So shkaga b'mai, what is the shaygig? It says k'gen sheshagag b'karban. He knew that it was prohibited, but he didn't know that he was going to have to bring a carbon. That's considered a mistake. He didn't know the punishment was going to be if Rabbanan shigas carbon leishmei shkaga. The rabbis say that that's not considered a mistake, just because you didn't know the penalty that there was going to be a carbon. So the Gemara says Rabbanan shigaga b'mai. According to the rabbis, what is considered a mistake? So this is a machlekes. It's Rabbi Yochanan kiven sheshagag b'kares af b'shezed b'lav. Rabbi Yochanan holds that even if he knows that there is a prohibition in the Torah, but he doesn't know that there's kares that's applied to that prohibition, so that's considered a mistake. And Reish Lakish amar ad sheyeshag b'lav v'kares. Reish Lakish holds that you need to be not aware of the prohibition or of the kares. You can't know either of them in order for it to be a mistake. Amar Rava. Rava says, my time with Reb Shimon ben Lakish amar kra. What's the reason for Reb Shimon ben Lakish? We have a pasuk. Asher leitasena. I don't know if it says bishkaga. V'ashem. Let me see if Chumash. Yes. Yeah, it doesn't say bishkaga in the pasuk. Okay. Asher leitasena v'ashem at yishkig b'lav v'karis sheba. It says he commits an act and there's guilt. Means he needs to not know that it was prohibited, and he can't know that there was kares in order for it to be a mistake. For Rabbi Yochanan, Haikra, Reb Shimon ben Lakish Mayavid, Rabbi Yochanan that says that if he doesn't know that there's kares, it's already considered a mistake. What does he do with that pasuk? Look at the Tanya. He uses it for a brisa. It says Me'am Haaretz. This pasuk. It says if one person from amongst the people of the land sin, they violate one of the mitzvahs of Hashem that should not be performed, and there's guilt. So when it says me'am haaretz prat lemumar, it says for one of the people that committed this, if one person from amongst the people committed this, what's it mean from amongst the people? Me'am haaretz. That's excluding someone that's a mumar, someone that would have done it anyway, right? He doesn't keep the Torah. Reb Shimon ben Elazar mishum Reb Shimon asher leitasena b'shkaga hashavmi diyasei mevi karban al shegigase leishavmi diyasei eni mevi karban al shegigase. So Reb Shimon ben Elazar spells it out in the name of Reb Shimon. He says that someone that when he finds out about what he did wrong, when he finds out that he did this, so then he returns. That means the only reason why he did it was because he didn't realize. So then that's the person that brings a carbon. But someone that would have done it anyway, even though right now it happened to be a mistake, so then he doesn't bring a carbon. So the mumar, I don't know if the mumar is the same as this person. Could be, yeah. I think Reb Shimon ben Elazar is spelling out the din of the mumar, that he's only chayev if this is something that he wouldn't have done had he had known. But here he would have done it anyway if he would have known. It doesn't matter to him. So the fact that he did it by mistake doesn't make him bring a korban. Okay, let's leave it here for today.